I found 17 bodies sealed inside a cargo container. They'd been dead for weeks, but the security footage showed them walking around the deck last night. Walking, talking, planning their revenge. The smell hit me first. Sweet, rotting, death. I'm Chief Officer Marcus Reed, and in 1989, I discovered the most horrifying crime in maritime history. What I'm about to tell you is based on real human trafficking operations that still happen today. But this one was different. We were 3 days out of Hong Kong aboard the MV Pacific Venture when I heard the banging. Container 23C, supposed to contain electronics from a factory in Guangzhou. But electronics don't scream. They don't claw at metal walls. They don't beg for water in broken English. The manifest was signed by Chen Industries, a legitimate company. But something felt wrong. The container was too light for its declared contents, and it had air vents welded to the sides. Why would electronics need air? I found Captain Volkov smoking on deck, staring at the horizon. Russian. Cold. He'd been acting strange since we left port, jumping at every sound, refusing to go near the cargo hold. "Captain, we need to inspect container 23C, I said. His cigarette trembled. "No. Company orders. Don't touch that container." "Sir, I think there are people inside." He grabbed my arm. His fingers were ice cold. "Some cargo is better left sealed, Reed. Trust me." That night, I couldn't sleep. The banging had stopped. Complete silence from container 23C. Silence is worse than screaming. I snuck down to the cargo hold with bolt cutters. The ship was rolling gently, but the air felt thick. Wrong. Like being in a tomb. Container 23C sat in the corner, surrounded by normal cargo. Nothing special about it, except for the smell seeping from underneath. I cut the lock. The door swung open and hell spilled out. 17 bodies. Men, women, teenagers. Piled like garbage. They'd been dead for days, maybe weeks. Dehydrated. Starved. Suffocated in their own waste. Human trafficking victims. Promised new lives in America. Instead, they got slow, agonizing deaths in a metal coffin. But that's not the horror part. That came later. I stumbled backward, vomiting. These weren't just random victims. These people had families. Dreams. The girl in the front couldn't have been older than 16. She clutched a photo of a baby. Her child, probably. I had to call this in. Contact the authorities. Get justice for these people. I raced to the radio room, but the equipment was smashed. Every single piece. Recently smashed. The plastic was still warm. Someone didn't want me making that call. Found something interesting, Reed? I spun around. Captain Volkov stood in the doorway. But he looked different. Older. His eyes were hollow, like he hadn't slept in months. "Captain, we have 17 dead bodies in container 23C. We need to throw them overboard. Tonight. Before we reach port." My blood went cold. "Sir, you think this is my first run with human cargo? This route is worth $10 million a year. A few deaths, that's just the cost of doing business." I backed away from him. "You're part of this. Smart boy. Chen doesn't just make electronics. They export people. Desperate people willing to pay $50,000 each for a chance at the American dream. Most make it. Some don't. You're a murderer." He laughed, but there was no humor in it. "I'm a businessman, and you just became a liability." Volkov pulled out a pistol. Russian military issue. His hands were steady now. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to help me dump those bodies. Then you're going to forget what you saw, or you'll join them in the ocean." I had no choice. For now. We worked through the night, hauling corpses to the stern. Each body had a story. Identification hidden in their clothes. Letters to family members. Photos of loved ones they'd never see again. The teenage girl's name was Lin Mei. She'd paid her life savings to escape poverty in rural China. The baby in the photo was her daughter, left with grandparents. Lin would never see her again. As we lifted her body, her eyes opened. Not possible. She'd been dead for days. But her eyes opened and stared directly at me. "Help us," she whispered. I dropped her in shock. Volkov spun around. "What's wrong with you? Pick her up." But Lin's body was already sliding across the deck. On its own. Moving toward the rail. "Did you see that?" I gasped. See what? You're losing your mind, Reed. Guilt will do that. But I wasn't imagining it. The other bodies were moving too. Slowly. Deliberately. Like they were waking up. A man named Joe stood up, seawater pouring from his mouth. He pointed at Volkov and spoke in perfect English, though his file said he spoke no English at all. You killed us. Now you pay. Volkov emptied his clip into Joe's chest. The bullets passed right through him, like he was made of mist. What the hell is happening? Volkov screamed. The dead were rising all around us. 17 victims becoming 17 witnesses. They surrounded Volkov, pressing closer. Lin May stood directly in front of him. Her skin was gray, her lips blue from suffocation. But her voice was clear. You promised us new lives. Instead, you gave us death. Now we give you the same gift. Volkov tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. We were in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. The ghosts didn't touch him. They didn't need to. They just whispered. They told him about their families, their children, their dreams. They made him see every face, hear every story, feel every moment of their slow deaths in that container. Volkov aged 20 years in 20 minutes. Make it stop, he begged me. Please make it stop. But I couldn't. I was just a witness now. The truth poured out of him like blood from a wound. This wasn't his first human trafficking run. There had been dozens, hundreds of victims over the years. Most survived the journey, but the unlucky ones, they became shark food. The company pays me $200,000 per run, he sobbed. They don't care about losses. People are replaceable. Lin May knelt beside him, her dead eyes full of sadness rather than anger. Our families will never know what happened to us. They'll wait forever for letters that will never come. That's the real crime. She was right. These weren't just murders. They were erasures. 17 people vanished from existence, their families left with nothing but false hope. I made a decision. I pulled out my backup radio, the one hidden in my cabin. Mayday, mayday. This is MV Pacific Venture requesting immediate assistance. We have evidence of mass murder and human trafficking. Volkov lunged for the radio, but the ghosts held him back with invisible hands. The Coast Guard responded within minutes. They were already tracking our ship based on intelligence reports about Chen Industries. When the authorities boarded 12 hours later, they found Volkov in a catatonic state, mumbling about ghosts and dead children. He confessed to everything. 23 different human trafficking runs. Over 300 victims. The investigation revealed a massive international operation. Chen Industries was a front for one of the world's largest human smuggling rings. Desperate people paying fortunes for passage to America, only to die in shipping containers or be sold into slavery. But here's what the official reports don't mention. The part that still haunts me. As the Coast Guard led Volkov away, Lin May appeared beside me one last time. She looked peaceful now, human again. Thank you, she whispered. Now our families will know the truth. She handed me something, the photo of her baby daughter. But when I looked at it again, there was an address written on the back. In China. I kept that photo. After the trial, after Volkov got life in prison, after Chen Industries was destroyed, I traveled to China. I found Lin's family. I told them what happened to their daughter. It didn't bring her back, but it gave them closure. And it started something bigger. Lin's mother used the compensation money to start a foundation. They work with international authorities to track down human trafficking operations. They've saved over 1,000 lives in the past 4 years. But the trafficking continues. Right now, somewhere in the world, another cargo container is being loaded with human beings. Desperate people willing to risk everything for a chance at a better life. Some will make it, some won't. The ghosts of those who don't, they're still out there, still seeking justice, still trying to tell their stories. I know because I see them sometimes, late at night when I'm on watch. They stand at the rail, looking toward home, waiting for someone to remember their names. Lin May visits me most often. She shows me news articles about other trafficking cases, other ships, other containers full of broken dreams. The work isn't finished, she tells me. People need to know this is still happening. She's right. Human trafficking is a $50 billion industry. Every year, thousands of people disappear into shipping containers, hoping for freedom but finding only death. The Chen case made headlines for a week. Then the world moved on. But the victims' families haven't moved on. The survivors haven't moved on. And neither have the dead. Share this story. Not because of the ghosts, but because of the living. Because right now, someone is making the same choice Lin May made. Someone is climbing into a container, trusting strangers with their life. Maybe your voice can reach them. Maybe your awareness can save them. Because the dead can't speak for themselves. But we can speak for them. The ghosts are counting on it.